the thing though with the national championships every year, and what's interesting is up in Canada where I live, I can't see it live, so I'm watching highlights. I'm hearing from people. I'm watching as much as I can, piecing it all together. And what's really interesting because of that view is I tend not to get immersed into kind of the emotion of the game. And so one of the things that came out of the game was this idea like, oh my God, it was the best. It was one of the top 5 national championship games ever. Like, oh my God, can you believe it? We were losing our mind. Isn't this amazing? And so the idea, one of the things that really kind of occurred to me was like, well, what makes a really good championship? And what I realized was like people were just falling in love with how many goals got scored. And then in the goalie community, people are like, "Oh my God, the last save was amazing, right? The last save was everything. Like Alex Rode, last save, like like no, no, no." If I could reach through this screen right now, this camera, and I could just kind of give you all one of those little slap across the face things, then you would realize that last save was nothing to talk about, right? And this is what's really important. What I'm trying to do here with those of you guys that listen to me every week, with those of you guys who I want to make you informed consumers, because I know you're going to go like get other information, right? Like you're gonna go find other coaches, you're gonna find other summits, and you're gonna find free information. You're gonna go back and it's gonna mess you up, dude. Like it's gonna mess you up. All right. So I want you to understand that when you watch a game and you've got a goalie, like for those parents and coaches listening to me right now, if you got a young goalie, and for my young goalies, listen, I want you to really notice what's going on so that you can then become an informed consumer of the game. You can also become an informed, informed just consumer of lacrosse goalies. And yes, Adam, I'm going to get to the girl stuff. The girl stuff is good too. But I've got some comments on the girls' game, and I wasn't totally excited about it. Right, Jason Edwards there, and Adam, you guys both have 2 phenomenal goalies, and that's really important to understand. Shooter choked, exactly. So those Fogos. I'm not sure if he had a flexi stick, because that's also something, a flexi, if that stick is really flexed out by the end of the game, he's seeing 5-hole and he goes to shoot that ball and he ripped it, and that stick head flexes. Well, that ball's not going where you think it's going to go, right? So that's really important to understand. So I want you, oh, awesome. 80K lack strings. Oh, I appreciate this comment, man. Checking in. Thanks for these videos, because going to a JV game tomorrow, and this is all the kids are talking about. Fantastic. All right. So you're in the right place. All right. Me either, but fun to watch. Adam. Exactly. Okay. So my thoughts on the finals. Okay. So I'm gonna cover the men first. I'm gonna talk about the women. All right. Because we had good goalies playing. But I don't want people to get distracted that just because it was like 17-16 for the men and what was it, 16-10 for the girls? I can't remember now, I just I don't want people to get, I want to delve into this, right? Because this is a little nuts for me. So greetings to everybody who's new, to all our Creating Lacrosse Goalie Future members, to all my new Lacrosse Goalie University members. Thank you. I want to coach your goalie. So if I'm not coaching your goalie, come join Lacrosse Goalie University, because I want to, I had 3 goalies on the phone today, and their parents and their coaches. And it was just it's been great. So if I don't have your goalie, I want to work with your goalie. Okay. Really, really important to understand. But I love doing this stuff for free. My wife was always, she's always amazed how jazzed up I get about this. So, all right. So we had Alex Rode, fantastic goalie, right? Fantastic goalie. I don't like his position. I don't like his stick position, but he's a senior, 6'1". I'm just getting this off the Virginia website. And maybe I could pull it up here for you guys can see it. So this is his smiling face. All right. There's Alex. All right. 6'1". He's a senior. So he's done, unless there's some sort of COVID thing that I'm not thinking of here. All right. And then also we had Logan McNaney, which I feel like he's missing a vowel. Should be McNaney, not McNaney. Anyway. But he's a sophomore, right? So we're going to see him again. So that's really, really good. Okay. I didn't think either of these goalies played very well at all, right? I think there's a lot of stuff that they would like to have back within their game. So I'm not talking about stance or any technique stuff. I'm just talking about within their own game. They probably would have liked to have played better. right? And so why ever, for whatever reason that happened, you can look in the sports psych side of it. You look in the mental prep. You can look at all that stuff. That's what I do at athletespecific.com. But I don't have the ability to dig into that stuff with their game. So we're gonna have to speculate. So, but two great goalies, right? Don't get me wrong. But there's some things that first I want to cover this. I want everybody who's listening to me right now, either live or in the future, to understand this. I want everybody to up their game. I want you to up your demands of this position. I want you to up your expectations of how a lacrosse goalie can play. Because I will say it again, I've said it a lot, but we have not seen the best goalies play this position, and they sure as didn't play this past week. Okay, so sub 40% save percentage. Jim Beardmore in Maryland is freaking out about that, as am I. That's not a good day, right? And when people go like, oh yeah, well, they're in the national championship. No. If you're a coach saying that, like, you are not doing your athletes justice. If you're a parent saying that, oh hey, well, at least they had a great game, and oh, that last save was no. Your goalie, if you have that philosophy with your goalie, they are going to miss massive opportunities to change this game. Okay. And so if you're out looking for, ladder drills and if you're looking for balance stuff and you're looking for like little, nuggets of information you throw, you're missing the macro view, which is goalies right now in this sport are being ruined by a lot of really bad lacrosse goalie thinking. And I will have that debate with anybody every day. And I will we'll just keep going, right? I will just keep preaching what I'm preaching, because the goalies that I get a chance to work with, they don't fall for this stuff, right? So don't mistake entertainment for good lacrosse. Okay, so there's lots of goals this past weekend. Like the amount of shots given up in these games, like the defense. If you want better goalies, this is what I want to tell every Division I lacrosse coach out there. You want better goalies? Teach your defense how to play better individual man-to-man defense, and how to understand goalie communication, and how to form this rock solid fortress of goalie communicating, slides, people knowing like when to go and when not to go. Holy God. If I had hair, I would have ripped it out. It just drives me nuts. I think the 15th goal that got scored on Alex Road was a ridiculous switch, and that resulted in a man wide open in front of the crease. That's just bad defense. So it has nothing to do with the goalies in this game. It has everything to do with just a fundamentally better foundational coaching of defense, right? Which is ironic because some of these coaches are defensemen. It's weird. All right. So it just drives me crazy. And then on the girls' game too, it's kind of weird as well. So I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Coach Edwards is going to need some anti-anxiety medication because of watching lacrosse goalies play. All right. So anyway, Jason Edwards, I appreciate that. Okay. So the final save was not a save, right? If you take credit for getting hit in the body, right? I'm all for if you've got a young goalie and you're learning how to take one and you're looking to take, that's not this. When you're at the Division I level, if you get shot in the chest by a player, you don't take any credit for that, right? You don't stand up there and go, I'm not saying that Alex did this, but there's a lot of people going like, yay, the goalie's a no, he got shot in the chest. When you get shot in the body and you don't have to move, you can, when all those parents who don't have a clue cheer from the stands, you can go like, hey, yeah, right on. But in the back of your head, you're going like, I got so freaking lucky on that one, right? And Alex Rowe was like, we just won a national championship because that guy couldn't shoot. Okay. And I'm sure he could shoot in other games. And I saw the video of him, Coach Tillman, consoling him. It sucks. But you learn from that and you come back and that kid's never going to miss another shot again in his life. Right. Okay. That's really important. So I can't read this word, but it's pretty shitty goaltending, to be honest. Okay. All right. So a couple things I noticed: goalies not playing in a high enough arc. Okay. Okay. Because lacrosse goalies are underprotected, they have completely let go of a fundamental tactic to be a good goalie, which is to play out towards the shooter. The best example was Asia Goldstock in that 8-meter shot. She got scored on, but when she stood at the top of the crease on that 8-meter shot and was slightly offset to her off-stick side, I jumped for joy. Right. And I saw some of the comments on Instagram like, why is she standing at the top of the crease? Because she's playing the biggest she could possibly play. She can actually keep coming out, right? She could, but I kept seeing, like, I think the 16th goal that got scored on I can't believe I'm saying that number. The 16th goal in the national championship that went in, or that maybe it was the 15th goal on Alex Road, completely just it was a bounce shot that spiked in the ground and went top corner. That shouldn't happen, right? That shouldn't be that, just fundamentally. And when you come further out, you minimize getting scored on like that. Balls go over the cage instead, or they hit you in the shoulder, or they hit you in the helmet, and they go out of bounds. And then you get to live. Yeah, right. Sorry, my bad on the shooting space call. Yeah. But anyway, she did a phenomenal job. Thanks for that, Jonathan. I appreciate that. So anyway, okay. I digress. The goal, so the goalies are not attacking, especially shots from outside. Okay. I hate seeing goalies so far deep in the cage that they can get scored on like that. And it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense fundamentally. Okay. Goalies need to be protected enough to come out and take one for the team and take one with a body. All right. And so the other thing is and Ben Stone, I'll get to that in a second. I'll just post it so people can read it while I'm going here. Bad vertical stick position. I hate the vertical stick position. One of the things that the vertical stick position does, and what I mean by that is, like, you've got a stick, like your right hand, let's say you're righty, the stick's on your right side, and that top hand is outside the shoulder crease, right? So outside your delt. And then the left hand is basically underneath the top hand. So in this case, the right hand. So that stick is vertical all the way on the right side of your body. That is wrong. Like, that is wrong. Not even close to correct. No, not even, like, it's wrong. It's not right. It's incorrect. It's bad. It's ridiculous. It's far-fetched. It's how else? Like, I need a freaking thesaurus right now to give you guys examples of what. It's just not even. The fact that this is even a thing tells me how bad coaching has gotten in this position across the board. And yeah. Anyway, so the vertical stick position, one of the things that it does, and I really saw this in the highlights from the game, is that a goalie, because they're not in a strong, powerful position with that top hand, they then resort to basically moving the bottom hand underneath. And so the stick basically pivots where the top hand is. And so the stick head moves, like, so let's say I'm a righty and I need to move to my off stick high position, right? If I take my left hand and I jam it further under my right hand, that stick will pivot and it looks like the head of the stick is actually moving into that space. The problem is it's not. Okay, it's moving slightly, but what needs to happen is that right hand needs to explode across the body, like a jab, like a boxer, like an uppercut, right? Like, because what's happening is goalies think they're moving, but they're not getting as much bang for the buck as they could, if that makes sense, right? So I just kept seeing that, and it just drives me crazy because it's not a powerful position. In addition, it pulls the left elbow out from the off stick's hip side and things like that. But it just drove me crazy. Okay. Ben Stone, can I read this? Watching a number of the women's ACC games, I saw a lot of the righty goalies fall in love with the sweeping the stick under for an off-stick hip shot move and getting beaten over their left shoulder. Not one moved the stick across their face. Hope that makes sense. It drove me nuts. Yeah, it totally does. And that's a strength thing, right, Ben? That's listen, not to be sexist, okay? Or as Spinal Tap said, sexy. For those of you guys that don't know that reference, please Google it. Like, if you take your goalie, male or female, and you have them hold their hand out and you grab it like you would like a stick shift in a car, and you try to shift that thing and have them resist, that's not their most powerful position. And in the last section of what I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to argue for a more centrally located stick head position, and I'll get more of that later. But that's a great observation, Ben, and it's totally true, and it's harder for the girls. Right. From a strength perspective, it is harder for the girls, but the same rules apply. right? The same rules apply. And that is basically bad. It feels good. It feels like a lot that, you know, you end up rotating through your core, through your glutes. It feels good and powerful, but it's like the longest distance between 2 points. All right. So I hope that makes sense. So Ben, great observation. Okay. Another thing I noticed watching the men's game that I'm no longer recommending an Excalibur ever again. Right. Ever. They're too soft. Right. Alex Rode let in a goal that he basically saved. Still went in the net. Okay. So I just can't. And Jonathan Redfern, who's part of our group, has done a ton of like research. He's a complete goalie stick nerd. And I say that with all the love in the world. Jonathan, you know that. But the idea here is that from a performance standpoint, from an equipment performance standpoint, how the hell can you play this position with a stick head that's basically going to bend in half when it gets hit by a good shot? And I'm not even talking like a great shot, just a lot of velocity, and then that stick is toast, right? So I'm leaning towards the String King now. Jonathan Redford actually sent me one. I don't get, you know, damn it, String King. They don't even send them, you know, on their own. But here's the stick he sent me. This is fantastic. He had the Eclipse, right? The Eclipse too. That's what you're saying? Yeah. So my bad. Sorry, my mind's like I'm ranting, man. My mind's like 1,000 pieces. So anyway, I'm not recommending the Eclipse. I'm just going to tell everybody, just don't waste your money. Get yourself a String King because it's the stiffest head on the planet. Okay. So yeah. Anywho, what else? Too soft. Yeah, the 16th goal. String King's better. Bad clearing. Okay, so one of the things that I teach when it comes to clearing, and again, this is why I want everybody to just up your standard of possibility. Like I was on the phone. I was on the phone with a um, yeah. So Jason, sorry guys, I'm going Jason. So Alyssa's got the Eclipse too. I think it's probably okay for the girls. Okay, I think it's okay for the velocity of shot that the women face, even at the college game. I think it's okay, but for the men, it's not working. Okay, um, yeah, I'm not, Jonathan. I see your comment. I'm not going to go with that right now. Okay, so clearing. So this is where I want people to up their game. Okay, and both the men and the women. All right, especially the girls. Like my God, uh, clearing is a chance to be an offensive threat, not a, oh, hi, how you doing? We're going to get the ball in the offensive half of the field and then we're going to start doing something. No, your goalie, if your goalie gets possession of the ball and they can't hit a midi right away for a quick clear, right? Or a long pole, if depending if they're inverted, like your long poles, like you need to be offensive minded, right? You've got to get away from having defense that are just like the fat, slow defensive dudes. Like everybody's got to, like when we're in the defensive half of the field, we are all defensive minded, transitioning to offense, right? So that it doesn't matter if my goalie gets the ball or my long pole gets the ball or a short stick gets the ball. We are offensively minded out of the defensive half of the field. I can't stand watching goalies who are not covered but have the ball, who like kind of haphazardly make it to midfield and then try to make a pass. No, if you are not covered, you go. You draw and you dump. If you don't draw anybody, the last person you're going to draw is the goalie, right? So for the boys, you shoot that thing. For the girls, you got to figure it out but you can make an assist and be deadly, right? So I really think they got to change the rule in the girls' game to be able to let goalies score. That'll completely change how teams clear. It'll just completely change the game, and it's all just because you let a goalie score doesn't mean they're all going to go for it now, right? But the fact that you allow it to happen changes the entire riding principle of the game. And I just can't see I can't stand seeing at the Division I level with talented athletic goalies. Like Alex Rode is a goalie who is willing to double team a ball at X, but he is hesitant clearing the ball in the offense, like the offense. That makes no sense to me at all. Like none. You can't have one thing and then not have the other, right? It's just, it blows my mind. Blows my mind. Okay. Oh, so Alyssa has the String King. Good. You're good. So we're better. Okay. All right. So she has two G2s. Fabulous. All right. And she's a stud or studette. Alyssa's a studette. All right. All my boy goalies are studs. All my girl goalies are studettes. No offense. Okay. So, bad clearing and also way too complicated. Like, I feel like teams are trying to get like matchups and sub people off and on and like whatever. It's like, come on, score, damn it, then sub. Okay. Um, Poor defensive communication. Holy he double hockey sticks. That's not my favorite word, but I probably shouldn't say the other one. That's bad form. Okay. Um, and um, hey, check it in on YouTube. XZUZ. I had my first JV game as an 8th grader yesterday. I got 12 saves. I won a ball from an attack stick. Awesome. Great job, buddy. Like, proud of you. That's really good. That's really, really good. Okay. I'm glad that's working out. Okay. So here's the deal. Defensive communication, goalie communication. Coaches have to look at this, and it's hard. I get it, especially if you're dealing with like misfit teams, and we all know who that is, right? But a lot of you listening to me right now have some really talented goalies on some really good teams, and even at the Division 1 level, I've had conversations with Division 1 coaches who don't think about goalie communication the way I think about it. And doesn't mean that I'm right, but I'm right. Here's the deal. When your team is on defense, and this goes for the boys and the girls. I know it's a little bit more complicated for the girls, and sometimes the rules even blow my mind. But the point is this: is that first and foremost, solid defense starts with good one-on-one defense. That is easier for the boys than it is for the girls. All right, you can have girls that can sprint in a fast line, but you can watch basketball for this, and even tennis. So in basketball, you'll see the same problems that we have in lacrosse. You'll see a defensive player who can stay with the offensive player for like a step or two, but then as soon as she gets crossed over, it's done. Okay. The interesting thing is you watch tennis and you'll see a player, they'll react to the ball, and then let's say they got to run to the right. Well, they'll cross over and they'll get there, but they're basically getting out of that lateral movement position, and they're just basically turning and sprinting. Well, that's really hard to defend, or it's hard to play against a good offensive player, because they're taught the second that you cross over, right? So if you and I are playing and I'm on defense and I'm shuffling with you, okay, what I'm going to teach you as an offensive player is to look at my feet. All right, because the second you can get me to cross my feet over, I want you to cut back the other way, roll back, whatever, face dodge. I'm done as a defensive player. And that lights up like women's defenses, but it also screws up men's defense as well. So great defense starts with one-on-one, like good, solid one-on-one defense. All right. But here's the deal. What is completely underestimated in the game is the ability for the team to identify where the hell they're sliding from. Okay. If your team is sliding from the crease, great. Everybody's got to know this. What blows my mind is when I see like an adjacent player like look like they're going to slide and then completely lose track of their man and get backdoored for an easy dump, and then it's like it's a slam dump on the goalie. That is all solved with good goalie communication and reinforcement from the coach for the team to listen, right? So listen to the goalie. What are we in? Are we in adjacent? Are we in like, and then they're going to call the slide. Are we sliding from the crease? I hope you're sliding from the crease, because it's like, when teams try doing like zones, I can solve your zone problem just by teaching your team how to listen to your goalie. Okay. And maybe I should start doing that for teams. I don't know. Anyway. Oh man, lots of people on Instagram. Hi to all of you. So that's the deal. Poor defensive communication, bad slides, easy goals. Okay, especially that 15th goal on Alex Road. That was just stupid. All right. In the women's game, what I noticed, again, most goals really caused by poor one-on-one defense. But like I just explained, it's harder for the girls to stay in front of their man or woman, right, laterally, and box them out. It's rare. It's more rare. And I just think it's fundamentally how they train. Like, most kids just train to run in a straight line, right? Or they'll do like cutting drills, but they'll do them on 45-degree angles. You've got to think of your lateral mobility for your defense. So I know for a lot of you guys listening to me right now, you're goalie parents and coaches, but here's the deal. If the problem starts with that defender, you got to look at that defender in terms of angles, and then how are they training? So if I take my defender and I put a circle around him like a protractor, right? And so it's all angles. And so if I look at my offensive players, you're going to realize like the angles are all on the front side of the circle, right? She's got to run a straight line, or he's got to run a straight line, and then he's got to cut. Okay, so then that brings us like 15, 25, 30 degrees, maybe 45 degrees. But if we've got to do like if we're going to put our foot in the ground and roll back, well, now that's actually off the other side of the circle, right? Now we're not working posterior chain like low back, glutes, hamstrings. We're actually working like hip flexor, like quads and abdominal wall, right? So if we're only practicing with our team running straight ahead, I'm missing all of that, right? Now defensively, all right, my girls or my boys, they got to run laterally. So now I'm at 180 degrees. So I'm on the 270. So does this make sense, guys? Like if this is not making sense, please let me know. Or if this is making sense, give me a thumbs up or a like or whatever. Because maybe I can just pull up a graphic or something. It might take me a little bit to find it, but the idea here is you got to look at angles, and I guarantee you, your team is not training in the proper angles. Like they're just not. So your defense gets out there, you've run them straight ahead for most of the week, and then on game day, you're basically asking them to move backwards, and you haven't trained that at all, and you wonder why your defense sucks. And also as parents, if you're sending your kids to like a strength and conditioning program, and then they're not working on any of that stuff, you're wasting your money. Like you're totally wasting your money. Okay. All right. Okay. So for also in the women's game, so 101 defense, goalies trying to block feeds from behind is a waste of time. Like a goalie has to rely on her defense when those cutters come through. Okay. And I don't care about the shooting space rules. Like people go like, I don't care about any of that stuff. The idea is that when the ball's at X, your goalie has to be able to watch that ball, know which side it's coming around, and then be in position when that ball comes topside. What drives me crazy is when coaches try to have goalies stand outside the post. Like, so let's say the ball is back left, all right? Back left. And you'll see a goalie basically standing with their left foot outside the post facing the back of the field. And then what happens? Well, she runs by, they make a pass out front, and it's even if they did try to make the pass, like let's say they try to make the pass, and then what are the odds your goalie is actually going to cut it off, right? Your goalie's got a better chance of being like facing the back of the cage and then sneaking out for a second. This is something that Bill Pilot, coached years ago, and I totally got. I mean, this is when I was in high school, dude. Right? Bill Pilot is that old. Just want everybody to know that. But I love Bill Pilot. He's a pioneer in this position. But the idea is like stay behind the cage, stay facing the back of the field. If they make a pass, then you can sneak out. Like if I'm standing there, like, hey, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to pass it around you, and then now that goalie, who is probably not your most athletic kid on the field, definitely not your most athletic laterally, which they should be. Now you're trying to get her to spin around and get her in position to make a save. I saw so many goals where a goalie was like, basically, I wish the goalie had an extra breath, like a half second, a quarter second to be set to be able to make that save. Goalies make more saves. It just blows my mind this is even a thing, right? And that coaches think that this is helping. No, what's helping is one, tell your defense how to play, how to play better one-on-one, and then have your defense out front just face guard their player. Not like, it drives me crazy. It really drives me nuts. Okay. Ben Stone from Melbourne, Australia writes, I would almost rather not face behind the goal than try and make play of the day. So what I tell my goalies to do is I want you to basically pivot. right? And it's too technical to get in here, but basically, if the ball is side left, right, side left, my left foot's on the post. Okay, my ankle bone is just in front of the pipe. My heel is up against the post. Okay, and then my right foot is basically 45 degrees off the goal line. Right, ball goes behind. Once the ball goes behind about 45 degrees, I'm going to pivot on my right foot. That left foot's going to come around. I'm facing the back of the cage. Facing the back of the cage, scoop my stick is on the crossbar. That's it. I'm good. Calling out ball position, trusting my D. Okay. Trusting my D. If the ball comes around side right, I'm pivoting on my left foot. Right foot comes to the post. I'm in position. I'm in position. And I can see up the field, and I'm actually in a really good position to make the save if they try to stuff one on me. Okay. So I know it's a little technical, but it drives me nuts. Okay. So what was my Asia Goldstock setting up in the 8 meter against Charlotte North in the final when she got scored on, but it blew my mind. That's the best thing ever. All right, it's the best thing I've seen. Okay, I've been preaching that for years, and it's nice to see it trickling up. Okay, finally for the girls, women's sticks need to change. The rules for the pocket rules for women's sticks are ridiculous. If you watch Charlotte North winding up on an 8 meter shot, and she's got all sorts of time, she's waiting for the ref, right? And she's like, she may as well have that ball in a freaking 5-gallon pail that she's whipping around her head like this. And the goalie's got to go like, oh, yeah. But it's not the way the women's game was designed to be played. Do I love it? Yeah, it's great. It's great if you're a shooter. But if you're a goalie, there's a point, right? Like I think I talk about the bell curve every week. There's a point where things start to trail off the edge of the bell curve, and you're like, really? So, yeah, I just think the pockets have gotten out of hand. The ability, as the girls have gotten stronger, it's tipped it so much in the favor of the shooter. It's not fun to watch at times. Okay. And I think that's really, really important. Okay. Andy Levinson, thank you with the amen. I appreciate that. It's the Church of Lacrosse Goalies, man. I am your host. Or as Elaine Miller called me, the cute guy. For those of you who got the Elaine Miller, if you're not friends with Elaine Miller on Facebook, find her on Facebook, friend her, have her send you the 2021 if your Facebook friends were in your high school yearbook. It's hilarious. Okay. All right. Moving on. Is that enough of a rant for the 2021 final? All right. For all you guys listening to me right now that got young goalies, your goalies have the potential to change this game. I fundamentally believe that. All right. It may or may not work out for them. I don't know, but you're sure shit going to try it. And the thing that I just want to see is we have not seen the best goalies play this game yet. Right. We have not seen the goalies. Yeah. I just want you to know that because we're not seeing the best players play this position. Nope. Not at all. All right, moving on. All right, guys, thanks for watching and thanks for listening wherever you are. Do me a favor, hit the like button if you like this, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. When you're ready, head on over to lacrossegoalieuniversity.com/coaching so I can work with you and your goalie. And while you're at it, check out athletespecific.com to learn more about mental performance and high performance. You may not know this, but I work with athletes in a variety of sports. Lacrosse is my love, but man, I love athletes and the families who support them. So head on over to athletespecific.com and check it out. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.